Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a science fiction thriller film, Deranged. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins in a local amusement park. Hyuk is with the family he is working for. They enjoy the roller coaster ride while screaming at the top of their lungs. After a while, the family takes a food break. Hyuk asks the hot dog vendor if there is a chance that it will rain that day, and the hot dog vendor replies that he does not think so. In the next scene, an old man is seen watching the television. According to the news, the heavy rain affected many crops in the countryside. While devastated by the news, the old man sees his children come home. The children rush to their dad to initiate a hug. After a little talk, Hyuk comes into the house, carrying a mountain of plastic bags. The old man greets him and tells him to rest. To rest, Hyuk comes to his car to go home. As he gets out of the car, a friend contacts him on his cell phone. Hyuk complains about the job that he has with the family. However, his friend says he has no choice but to do the job. While walking, Hyuk says he will not continue working with the family anymore. In the hallway, Hyuk is confronted by his younger brother, Pil. Pil is asking about his older brother's job, and he says that he is guilty about what happened in the stock market. Angry, Hyuk abandons his brother, saying he will never speak to him again. Arriving in his apartment, Hyuk sees his family eating dinner. His eldest son asks if they will go to an amusement park to celebrate his birthday. However, Hyuk answers with a frown, saying they could not afford to go into the amusement park. Disappointed, the family continues to eat. Hyuk's wife comes to their bedroom. She says that she wants to apply for a job to help the family. However, Hyuk immediately rejects the idea, saying it's too embarrassing for him as a father. Hyuk argues that he will find a way to be completely stable and assures his wife that she does need to apply for a job. In the next scene, Hyuk's younger brother, Pil, is talking with his colleague, talking about market activities. His colleague says that JOA Pharmaceutical stock has been increasing in the last few months. Pil asks his colleague if they can really bet on investing in that company. However, his colleague replies that there is no such thing as certainty. Irritated, Pil dunks his colleague's face over the food he is eating, saying that he is the reason why his family is struggling. Pil then punches his colleague, making him fall to the ground. Fearing for his life, his colleague admits that he's certain about the company in this time. Pil orders his colleague to find out who is investing in JOA Pharmaceutical. In the next scene, Pil talks to his girlfriend and tries to persuade her to make a loan for them to invest in JOA Pharmaceutical. However, his girlfriend is quickly irritated and says that it is too dangerous and she does not want to take any more risks and end up like Hyuk. However, Pil is really obsessed with stock trading and wants to make up for what he did with his older brother. Disappointed, Pil walks away from the scene. The day after, a young couple is seen exercising early in the morning. As the man is about to take a leak on the nearby river, he sees something in the water. He quickly checks what it is. To his shock, the man sees a dead body dumped in the river. Due to panic, the man loses control of his foot and his girlfriend screams at the top of her lungs. The police quickly come to the scene. Pil surveys the area and looks for any possible evidence. Being curious, he takes a look at the dead body. Pil screams, as it is only the first time he sees such a horrifying death. In the autopsy room, even the doctors cannot comprehend what happened to the dead lady. Interestingly, they also find 2 more corpses coming early in the morning. Pil and his colleague theorize that it is a case of serial murders. The doctor says that the corpse's autopsy is scarily very similar to each other. In the afternoon, the workers find another pile of dead bodies dumped into the river. In the next scene, Hyuk is woken up by his wife, telling him that he should watch the television. According to the news, 58 corpses have been found dumped in the river. This news totally freaks out the married couple. While working, Pil studies the stock market. However, his upperclassman says he is assigned to investigate the deaths. Leaving with no choice, Pil accepts the job. That same day, Hyuk's wife receives a phone call from a colleague. Her colleague says that their relatives are also found dead in the river. On the other side of the story, Hyuk plays golf with his workmates. Strangely, their boss is acting sick. After drinking enough water, the boss rushes into the river and drowns himself to death. Worried, Hyuk quickly comes into the river to save him, but it's already too late. Upon seeing the face of his boss, Hyuk starts trembling. On the other side of the story, Pil goes to the area to investigate the deaths. He theorizes that there is something wrong with the water. The locals are clearly disappointed in Pil's theory, saying that a water problem is ridiculous for a very horrifying tragedy. In the morning, Pil sees another pile of dead bodies in the river. Being alert, he quickly takes his cell phone to contact the police. According to the records, about 100 people have been found lifeless in rivers nationwide in only one day. The Ministry of Health theorizes that it's an epidemic and needs to be addressed as soon as possible. The day continues, and the pile of dead bodies keeps on increasing. The families of the dead people cry as they see their relatives die suddenly. Pil receives a call from his cell phone. His workmate says that according to the scientists, no toxic substance is found in the river. The country is now in a state of emergency. People are seen dead left and right in the rivers and even in bathtubs. Upon investigating, they see a strange worm-like creature in one of the corpses. The doctors confirm that these creatures are called horsehair worms. The doctors wonder why the worms decide to infiltrate human bodies. They theorize that these worms are mutant variants of the parasite. The doctor explains that these mutant variants might have gotten into the human's organs and started attacking from inside. He also explains that one of its symptoms is making the host very thirsty. This reveals the reason why the dead people are seen in areas that have water. Worried about his family, Hyuk rushes into his home. Showing the symptoms of the parasite, the family decides to go to the hospital. In the next scene, the Ministry of Health discusses the parasite. They conclude that the parasite could not physically be taken out. They suggest that the people infected should take vermicide to remedy the problem. To make sure, they decide to conduct a clinical trial. In the hospital, one of the patients is screaming in so much pain. The mother says that she made her daughter take vermicide. However, her daughter starts acting aggressively within 5 minutes of taking it. The doctors are left speechless with the information they got. After screaming in so much pain and throwing out a slime-like substance, the kid dies in front of the doctors. Hyuk and his family are preparing to go to the hospital. The children are starting to feel the symptoms of the parasite. As the wife is in the kitchen, she feels the urge to drink all the water coming from the faucet. In the next scene, Pill deals with the people affected by the parasite. The epidemic is now causing massive hysteria among the people. After learning that the parasites infect his relatives, Pill quickly goes to his car. However, he stops when chaos happens in the area. On the other side, Hyuk's wife is now acting aggressively and unconsciously drinks water from the faucet. Shortly, their children start acting strange too and drink so much water. There's now massive chaos in the hospital. The patients are escaping the building to find some water to drink. Similarly, Hyuk's family also tries to escape from their room to find water. As a reaction, Hyuk tries his best to keep his family in the room to prevent them from dying. At the same time, hundreds of people are now coming into the river and any water sources, killing themselves eventually. Luckily, Hyuk is able to keep his family inside their apartment. For a short while, the surge of people coming to the river has stopped. However, hundreds of dead bodies now stream in the river. The number of deaths has now increased to 3,000, and over 100,000 people have been infected. One of the locals confides in what he has seen during the start of the epidemic. The local says that she saw strangers that released dogs in the river. He theorizes that these dogs have put the parasites in the river. This reveals that the epidemic was caused by unknown people and not merely by natural causes. At the hospital, one patient claims that after taking a medicine called Windazole, his symptoms disappear. Moreover, the doctor finds that the worms in his body have become necrotic. The head of the Ministry of Health concludes that Windazole is the cure for the epidemic. Interestingly, this medicine called Windazole is produced by JOA Pharmaceutical. It reveals that the unknown people that released dogs in the river might be the people who strangely invested in the company before the epidemic. He quickly comes to his office and asks his workmates if they still have Windazole. However, it is already out of stock. The government is now in partnership with JOA Pharmaceutical to massively produce the medicine. Hyuk comes to the quarantine facility where his family resides. He finds that the government has ordered strict isolation of the infected people, and no family members are allowed to visit them anymore. This decision causes massive hysteria among the people. Quickly then, Hyuk tries to get his family's attention by showing up in the windows. His wife notices him and assures him everything will be fine. Different areas in the country are now in massive chaos. The number of people dying still dramatically increases at night. The next morning, it's revealed that the company JOA Pharmaceutical has failed in producing the medicine. After a short while, Hyuk receives a call from his cell phone. His colleague says that he has taken some of the leftover medicines. JOA Pharmaceutical's CEOs says they could not produce the medicine because their machines are outdated. The government suggests that all the pharmaceutical companies should work together and use their machines to produce the medicine. However, even if the companies agree to this, the government still needs JOA Pharmaceutical's consent to access the formula for the medicine. In the next scene, Hyuk rushes to his office to get the remaining medicine. After getting the medicine, he rushes into his car to get away. However, he feels guilty about leaving behind a baby and a mother infected with the parasite. So he goes to them and secretly gives them one set of medicine. However, one man notices that he's giving the medicine to the woman. The man screams that Hyuk got the medicine. The people now rush to him and start attacking Hyuk, trying to steal the medicine. Quickly, the police come to investigate the incident. Unfortunately, Hyuk's medicine was stolen and he has nothing left for his family. At the conference, JOA Pharmaceutical's CEO says that the company's stakeholders refuse to publicize the formula of the medicine. However, he says that the stakeholders could be persuaded with money. In the next scene, Hyuk receives a phone call from his family. Hyuk is now worried about the situation of his wife and children. After the call, he quickly rushes to the quarantine facility to check on them. Unfortunately, he is not allowed to get in touch with them. Hyuk's wife contacts him through a video call. The wife says that their children are now in bad shape. On the other side, Pill looks at the people who bought shares of JOA Pharmaceutical prior to the epidemic. His colleague theorizes that these people are only surrogates to the people who really bought the shares. However, his colleague also says that one of the surrogates is actually the father of an employee of JOA Pharmaceutical. This reveals that someone from the company has intentionally triggered the epidemic. In the Ministry of Health, one of the doctors says that prolonged infection of the parasite would result in fatal circumstances. He describes it as the worms fighting back and forcing their way out to the host's body. Out of desperation, the government now agrees to control the company. He asks JOA Pharmaceutical for its price. Hyuk quickly goes to the black market to buy the remaining box of medicine. Meanwhile, his wife now starts drinking so much water from the container, endangering her life. Just before Hyuk gets his medicine, they are stopped by the police. The dealer, leaving with no choice, flushes the medicine to the toilet in order to destroy any possible evidence. Hyuk tries to get the medicine in the toilet, but it's already too late. One of the women in the quarantine facility stops Hyuk's wife from completely killing herself. Pill then discovers evidence that this was all planned out by JOA Pharmaceutical employees. He tracks down someone who used to work for the company's research team and threatens him with the truth. The researcher reveals the story. Apparently, the epidemic is planned by some researchers to gain profit, to boost stock prices. One of the researchers pretended to have been treated with the medicine they produce. With this information, Pill contacts Hyuk, and the two travel to the storage facility, where the researcher admits to hiding the remaining medicines. Someone locks the door to the storeroom and sets the facility on fire, just as Hyuk is ready to get his hands on the medicine. The two survive, but a suspicious guy assassinates the researcher who was providing Pill the information, and all of the medicines are destroyed. Pill discovers that the dead researcher was actually the head of the research team and a close friend of the CEO. Moreover, he learns that other researchers had already fled to another country, and only the team leader remains. As a result, the CEO and the researchers plan the entire strategy from the outset. Meanwhile, the CEO proposes that the government should purchase the company entirely, allowing them to determine the drug's formula and produce more for the fast-growing number of patients. The CEO offer of $5 billion is utterly absurd, and most government officials oppose it, but the Prime Minister claims there are no other options. However, a person comes into the room and notifies the Prime Minister of the scheme just in time. Angry, he orders the arrest of the CEO. Hyuk is depressed when he understands that as long as he can manufacture medicine with the same active ingredient as Windazole, he should be able to treat his family. He does not need the medicine itself. Others cooperate, and pharmaceutical companies rush to develop a successful medicine that can treat everyone. The movie ends with Hyuk and his wife and children spending time at an amusement park. Hyuk wants the family to go on vacation overseas altogether. Hyuk jokes that they should go to a country with many drugstores. Hyuk and his wife smile, but suddenly panic, while the movie quickly transitions to a scene with a corpse floating in New York Harbor. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.